I'm Brittany McDowell, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of our PAC Politics podcast. If you don't know, our podcast is brought to you by our organization, our United Resource PAC. We are a tax-exempt political organization. On today's show, I want to share with you a personal letter that was written to me. And if you don't know, I don't just host this podcast. I'm the president and the CEO of our organization. And I received a letter from an employer who says that they are unable to hire. So I want to share that letter with you. And also, we are going to provide you with a resource to check the status of your most recent economic impact payment, if you have yet to receive it. You're listening to another episode of our PAC Politics podcast. It's about that time for the next episode. Recently, over the last few episodes of our podcast, one of the themes that has been talked about is this narrative around employers having a difficult time, or they claim to have a difficult time hiring people. They are just unable to hire. On today's show, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Typically on the podcast, I talk about kind of things external to myself personally. I want to share with you an experience that I personally have had that has resulted in an employer reaching out to me and, conveying their experience that they are having a difficult time hiring. And I'd like to actually address that. But I will say I won't explicitly name the employer here, okay? So let me give you a little bit of background. I have a family member who, physically kind of, had some... They have two forms of arthritis, okay? And those of you who either have arthritis or know someone who has arthritis, you know that it can be pretty debilitating. So this family member and I, when I visited her, she wanted something to eat. So I said, okay, well, where do you want to go? She wanted to go to this particular restaurant. Well, it's not really, it's like a fast food place, okay? It's not like a true restaurant. So it's a fast food place. And she, this had probably been, I think, her second time going there. The first time she really enjoyed it, but anywho, so because of her arthritis, she asked me to go in and she wanted to sit in the car. I happily obliged. So I went into the fast food place, and placed her order. The experience was not at all anything that I would think anyone who owned that business would be happy about, right? It was unprofessional. It was super lengthy, like you could have eaten the meal 3 times over, just put it like that. And I'm normally not one to complain. However, in my position as president and CEO of this organization, and having had other businesses, I'm aware that a business owner, may not always be aware of the image that those who are in positions to represent the organization may be putting out there. And so, of course, I definitely did not cause a scene in the place, took her food and we left. Didn't even say anything about my issue. I just made it up in my mind that, hey, okay, I need to reach out to management by email, phone, something, and kind of let them know what's going on. Not so they can fire people or anything like that, but so that way they can genuinely, if they're not aware, fix the issue. Because I know I most certainly, if I own that business, what happened that day, not just with me, but what I observed with other people in front of me and behind me, that would not have been acceptable by me. So I kind of looked at it as me, doing a service to my, fellow man or woman in business anyhow. So I ended up sending an email, reaching out to that specific location. And it took maybe about 2 weeks or so before I finally heard back. And I heard back from the manager. And I know this because of, one, the name. I remember the name of the manager. They wore tags the location. And then also her signature in her email response said that she was the manager of the location. And the actual tone of the received email was very defensive. It was very, very, very defensive. In so many words, asking, well, what do you want me to do about it? And so I responded back with, well, I'm just letting you know because, I would assume that if you were in my position, that you, or if I would assume if I were in your position, I would want to know, kind of how my business was being managed. And again, I was dealing with the manager and not necessarily the owner at that point. So at that point, I didn't hear anything back, right? I'm going somewhere with this. You're like thinking, Brittany, how in the heck is this related to COVID-19 economic stimulus and relief? So I didn't hear anything back. And then I received, probably about 2 weeks after that, this letter that I'm going to read for you right now. And this did not come from the manager. This actually came from the owner of the business. Okay. And again, I'm not going to name the name of the business, and I will not say the name of the owner. And it says, "Hello. Thank you for reaching out to us, and thank you for being a customer of name of the business. It's unfortunate for seeing valued customers not served well by our crews, but rest assured we are taking actions to serve you with the best of our capabilities. Our store is short-staffed and we are trying to revive it. We struggled so much, and it's been a challenge for us in hiring good applicants these days. We may have failed to reach our target. We truly apologize for it. If you know anyone who is looking for a job, manager, cooks, shift leaders, cashiers, feel free to reach out to us. We are greatly in need of employees for our restaurant name store. Your help is greatly appreciated. Once again, we apologize for your experience at restaurant name, restaurant location. Hope you have a good day." So that was the letter that I got back. Now, mind you, this came from a few weeks ago, right? This, if you started this episode thinking that an employer reached out to me after hearing the podcast, no, this was actually sent to me, weeks ago, well before we even kind of restarted our podcast, because I was away for a pretty decent amount of time, right? So I got that letter, and there was a particular line that kind of stood out for me, and I'm going to kind of revisit it here. It says, and I'm reading the line exactly, it says, "We struggled so much, and it's been a challenge for us in hiring good applicants these days." That sentence really stuck out for me. And the reason it stuck out is because of the word good. If you kind of paid attention to the word that I stressed the most when I read that sentence, they're not just looking for any applicants, right? When I read that, what I interpret it as is that they're not having a problem getting applicants. They are having a problem getting applicants that they define as good, that meets their standards. And this kind of takes me back to something that I said earlier that we'll talk about in just a moment. Today's resource that I am sharing is a resource that we have mentioned and promoted several times on our podcast before. What it is an official government tool that will help you confirm if the IRS and Treasury have sent your economic impact payment, your stimulus check. But in addition to that, it will also let you know the method by which they sent it, how they sent it, if they sent a direct deposit, and if you didn't get it, maybe it went into a wrong account. And if that's the case, it will also inform you of what will happen. Maybe they mailed you a check and it's in the mail, and your mail just, who knows, right? But if I don't have that information, but this tool does, it again is an official government tool. To get access to it, if you look in the description box of this episode, you will find a link to join our mailing list. We will not spam you. Our mailing list is an awesome way to keep in contact with us. But most importantly, it's an awesome way to get access to this tool. It's great, again, for you if you have not yet received your economic impact payment, as well as other people. It might be something that you want to get access to, so that way you can share it with them. The resource also does mention the other kind of option that some people are going to have when it comes to actually getting your economic impact payment. Some people will get checks, some people will get direct deposits, some people who are eligible will end up having to utilize a tax credit. If you want more information, not just on how you'll get your payment, if you'll get it when, you also, might want to get information on this tax credit, which this tool will also provide you information on. So again, if you look in the description box below, click the link to join our email list. You'll just have to give us your name, your email address, and as soon as you sign up, we'll get you a welcome email, and then within a few seconds after that, you'll get the email with access to this resource. So you can find that in the description box below. I hope the resource is of benefit to you or someone you know. All right, so let's come back to this letter, right? The problem, as I understood it, per the letter that I received, is not that this employer, based on my interpretation of it, right? Based on that sentence, and if you forgot the sentence that I'm referring to, again, I'll read it for you. It says, "We struggled so much, and it's been a challenge for us in hiring good applicants these days." The problem is not that they couldn't get any applicants. The problem is that they were having a problem getting applicants that met their expectations. And, one of the running narratives from the side that has opposed assisting individual Americans during the pandemic economically is that, people are going to have this sense of entitlement, right? They feel like the government should just do everything for them. If you truly wrap your mind around what some of these employers are saying about employees, they too have a sense of entitlement. You, my friend, my business brother or sister, you were not entitled to good applicants. If you want a good applicant, you have to give them a good incentive to apply. Okay? And so some people might look at the letter I received and kind of have this bleeding heart of sympathy. No, I have a certain level of sympathy for this individual. But at the same time, it's like, okay, in what other business situation, do you think that you don't have to come back with a better offer if your current offer is being rejected? The business of business says that if you want a better offer, you have to bring something better to the table. And if you are paying, for instance, minimum wage, or if you're advertising a minimum wage payment, consider bringing up what you have to offer applicants if you want better applicants. Now, do businesses have this kind of surplus of funds available? In a lot of situations, no, they do not. But let's not act like they are completely destitute, like your average American, with absolutely no resource. If a business has no resources available to it, it needs to reconsider being in business. Right? I talked about the other day some of the personal sacrifices that business owners make to even get a business off of the ground. Maybe that business owner needs to, if they truly believe in their business, maybe that business owner needs to say, you know what, in order to be able to get a better offer, to get better applicants, I have to take out a business loan. Maybe I have to take out a personal loan. Maybe you have to do something to bring a better offer to the table. But the sense of entitlement that I'm picking up on, that so many others are picking up on, has to be gone. And what we are seeing specifically in a lot of red states, a lot of red states at this point have announced that they are going to be ending various unemployment programs. We are in this seeing unified coercion taking part, where employers are unifying with government officials to force people into positions where they need to take deals that are not optimal for them and their family. And this really should be a problem, not just for the employees and not just for the employers, for all of us, because in this country, we have subscribed to this idea of the free market. And if we don't truly have a free market where employees can make decisions about what is best for them and their family, but they are in turn forced to take a deal that does not work for them at all, is that really a free market? Or is the idea of the free market that we've all been sold, is it a farce?